if you're a bona fide believer, you shouldn't handle your problem like a hypocritical church person handles their problem. It should be a difference in how you handle what you're going through. There is a distinctive difference between me and a sinner. I ain't no sinner. I'm a bona fide believer. I've been tested. My faith has been proven.
Take it to Jesus. Hey, and let God. You gotta and let God. Don't worry about it. And let God. Cast your burden and let God. Let God do it. Let God do it. Let God do it. Let God do it. Don't worry about it. You gotta let him do it. Don't cry about it. You gotta let him do it. While you're staying up all night. While you're worried about it, you can't work it out. Let God do it. Let God do it.
We're looking at the story when Jesus showed up after the resurrection, and Thomas, one of his disciples, was not there when Jesus arrived or appeared to the disciples. They told him that they had seen the resurrected Lord, but Thomas said to the disciples that unless I see him, I will not believe. And Thomas said it in a plain way. He was bold about what it was going to take in order for him to believe. Thomas said, unless I see him, unless I touch him, unless I handle him, I'm not going to believe. And so Jesus appeared in a supernatural way. And this time Thomas was there. And Thomas confessed belief in Jesus. But he did so again because he was able to see him, to feel him, to touch him, or to handle him. But Jesus said in John 20 and 29, Jesus said to him, Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. And truly, Jesus did many signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name. Jesus was actually talking about us. He was actually speaking about people that he knew would never in the earth realm get to touch him. But yet they was going to believe in him through the word or through his disciples. He actually here gives a portrait of what I want to consider as bona fide believers. Because he says again that blessed are those who have not seen yet believe. I want us to know this morning that when you can believe without seeing, you bona fide. I said you bona fide. When you can trust a God that you've never laid your eyes on, you bona fide. When you can keep doing what your God tells you to do, despite what you're seeing or hearing or even feeling at times, you bona fide. I said, you bona fide. When you can believe better is here and better is coming, and it ain't based upon nothing you seeing, you know you bona fide. When you can bounce a check and keep believing, you know you bona fide. When you can lose a job and keep shouting, you know you bona fide. When you can smile at the midst of a negative report, you know you bona fide. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor the subject this morning. Bona fide believers. And look at another person if it be true and tell him, I am a bona fide believer. And give God a praise for the subject this morning. If you're a bona fide believer, give him a praise this morning. If you know one thing about yourself, if you know you bona fide, give him a big hand of praise. I'm going to talk this morning to bona fide believers. But I also have a word for pseudo believers. The word bona fide has to do with that which is real. It's when a person is genuine or authentic. Now see, the modern church is full of pseudo believers. Church is filled with folk who like to talk, but don't really walk the walk. Ah, Lord, you know I'm right. You could have gave me an amen on that. You know that the church is filled with pseudo believers or folk that are fake. Back in the day when we was growing up, we used to call somebody that was fake. We'll tell them that you phony. You ain't bona fide. But again, if you are a bona fide believer, saying about you that your faith is real. You know, but Paul talked about Timothy, that he had genuine faith, that he had received from his grandmama and his mama. Paul knew about Timothy that your faith is genuine, or he knew that Timothy was a bona fide believer. When you reach the point to where you are bona fide, it's not just going to be evident to you, but it's going to be evident to people who know you. In other words, when you become a bona fide believer, folk you go to church with will attest to the truth that your faith is real. They'll say stuff like, that girl don't just talk to be talking, but she bona fide. Yeah, that brother is not just playing church, but he's a bona fide believer. I wonder, do you have anybody that will give evidence, anybody that will co-sign to the truth that you are a bona fide believer? See, some of us are quiet because you know the only person that's really going to say that you're bona fide is you. And if you say it, then you're lying or you are deceiving yourself. Because one thing I want us to understand about a bona fide believer, or someone whose faith or belief is real, authentic, or genuine, is that a bona fide believer has been tested or is proven. See, in order to truly be bona fide, you're going to have to go through some things that are going to give proof, or that's going to share evidence on the fact that you're real in God. Yeah, sometimes you have to not only be saying the right thing, but folk got to see you doing the right thing. Now, am I right about it this morning? See, somebody came to church this morning and you're going through some trials, but you bona fide because you gave God the praise as if everything in your life was wonderful. You are so bona fide that folks around you cannot even detect what you're going through. Oh, you are bona fide. Folk can't tell when you got money. They can't tell when you ain't got it. Why? Bona fide. Are you bona fide this morning? Don't just look sad. You don't just disfigure your face So folks will pity you about what you're going through. You bonafide. You keep smiling even though pain is in your body. You continue to smile and you so bonafide that you'll be lifting up other folk. You'll be encouraging other people in their faith even though you're going through something yourself. How can you do that? You're bonafide. You're bonafide. But sadly in the church, even in anointed churches, even in churches that are overseen by bona fide prophets or pastors, you have in congregations pseudo believers. Because what I want us to understand this morning is that bona fide believers are rare. I say they rare. If you're looking for a bona fide believer, you probably gonna have to do a diligent search in order to truly find one. You have to do a diligent search. Because you're looking for folk that can go through trouble without throwing pity parties. So you're going to have to do a diligent search. May not be able to even find one on your road, just depending on what road you on. You may not even have a bona fide believer on your road or in your house. Your house may have 3 or 4 folk that live in it, but you're going to have to do a diligent search to find in your own house another bona fide believer other than yourself. And I got to admit, because I pastor this church, and I got to admit that we have some pseudo believers. We have some folk that talk, but they don't really do what they say. We have some folk that tell other folk what they need to do, yet when you examine them, they're not doing not only what they told somebody else to do, but they're not doing what the Bible tells them that they need to do. But it doesn't stop them from telling you what they see in your life. It don't stop them from prophesying to you. See, they fake, they phony. Pastor, how do you know that folks are not bona fide? Number one, they just too ordinary. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you run across a bona fide believer, he or she is anything but ordinary. I'm going to prove it to you. The way they talk is not ordinary talk. Come on. Things that they do is not ordinary. No, you don't be bleeding for no 12 years and then went from doctor to doctor and broken yet. Then you come and trying to get to Jesus and there's a crowd all around him. And instead of going home, you press your way through the crowd and you touch his garment and get your healing. Girl, you know you ain't ordinary. Come on, you don't go to no house and it's crowded all on the outside and you can't get your friend in, so you just go home. You ordinary. But when you decide to climb on top of the roof and tear the roof off and then lower down your friend, you know that ain't ordinary. And some of us are guilty of being too ordinary. Let me give you some definitions of what it means to be ordinary. Number one, when something is ordinary, it's not special or it has no distinctive features. See, ain't nothing special to it. Ain't nothing special about you. I don't see any distinctive features. See, Jesus told Thomas plainly, Thomas, you believe because you seen. But I'm going to tell you about a distinctive feature that folk have that a bona fide belief. Thomas, they going to believe though they have not seen. If you believe without seeing, that's a distinctive feature that will set you apart from the average church person. Because a whole lot of folk go to church, but in order to believe, they got to see something. But when you ordinary, when there's really nothing special about you, there are no distinctive qualities or features that set you apart from your unsaved cousin, from your co-worker who never goes to church, only listen to gospel music on Sunday. There's really no difference between you and them if the truth be told. Number 2 says that you're just commonplace or you're just normal. Don't she sing in y'all choir? Yeah, she sing up there, but she normal. She normal. She gonna sing hard if everything is going good. But she may not show up if things are not going the way she wants it to go. She normal. Isn't he a deacon at your church? Yeah, he normal though. You can't really count on him. He may do right, he may not do right. He normal. See, the problem in some of our families is that they don't understand as much as you go to church. They trying to figure out why you so much like them. You stayed depressed like she stayed depressed. You on the same medication for depression that sinners on. You normal. And see, what it boiled down to is that when you just common, you do things like normal folk. You handle and you deal with things like normal folk. See, everybody gonna go through trouble. Everybody gonna experience problems. But if you're a bona fide believer, you shouldn't handle your problems like a hypocritical church person handles their problem. It should be a difference in how you handle what you going through versus what a sinner or how a sinner handles what they're going through. I come to tell you, I come to preach to you that there is a difference. There is a distinctive difference between me and a sinner. I ain't no sinner. I'm a bona fide believer. I've been tested. My faith has been proven. But when you ordinary, you deal with stuff like a normal person. Because you ain't bona fide. You think, you talk, and you act normal. See, it should be said about us that we anything but normal. Folks should look at our children and know about them. Yeah, they're young, but that ain't a normal young person. He ain't a normal young man. I see I'm going to have to work with this. See, when you bona fide, you uncommon. You exceptional. Come on. Be young, but as a believer, we should have something that we see in you, young person, that's different from the average young person. Some of us, we just ain't single. We single and normal. Some of us married, but our marriages are just normal. It's just a normal marriage that they got. Nothing exceptional about it. Nothing rare about it. Oh, yeah, you got your business, but if the truth be told, you just a normal business owner. Ain't nothing rare about how you do business. Yeah, you a married woman. You a wife, but you just a normal wife. You ain't uncommon. You ain't hard to find. Good God, I'm preaching right up in here. See, if a woman is married and she a bona fide believer, then the Bible says that her husband's heart safely trusts in her. She makes him better, not worse. She's a strength. She's a help. She ain't no hindrance. Yeah, you got children, you a mama, but you a normal mama. But tell your neighbor, when you bona fide, you rare. Folk who live by faith, that's uncommon. Trust in God despite what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. Man, you know Elder Evans ain't normal. Lost the job but still giving God the praise. You know that ain't normal. Bro, James ain't normal. Went through in his body, was speaking faith while he was hurting. Was talking faith to nurses, was talking faith to doctors, was talking about what he believed and how he know what God is going to do. He wasn't no normal patient. Yeah, I know you got a physician. I know you got a doctor, but your doctor says about you, you a normal patient. You a regular patient. He see folk like you all the time. But every now and then, God got to send a bona fide believer and let them talk to a doctor. Let them talk to a loan officer. Let them talk to a mortgage broker. Let them talk. God, I'm preaching to somebody, but I'm preaching to folk that know ain't that normal about you. Be seated real quick and tell somebody, ain't that normal about me now. Tell your name, I'm a bona fide believer. Am I preaching right? Now, when you truly bona fide, this is what you got to understand. To some folk, you strange. Always thinking she got to go up there to that church and get her praise on. Something wrong with that girl. Yeah, she's strange, ain't she? Always opening up that Bible. You ain't gonna believe what I saw him do. I saw him put oil on his own head. Ain't it just something weird about him, ain't? See, when you bona fide, you'll be doing stuff that folk, when they see you do certain stuff, they'll say, it's something, it's something. Have you ever been accused of being crazy? I don't know what they doing in that neighborhood. Them folk over there walking around that house, them some strangers. They come here every weekend and pull up here at that house. Something strange about their behavior. We ain't seen nobody like him at the dealership. We told him no. He didn't believe her. So we got our supervisor to come back, and the supervisor told him no. He still didn't believe. But good thing the owner was in the building car. Then the owner went and told him wasn't nothing they can do. And he still shouted off the car lie. It's something strange about that young man. Something, yeah. But look at him now. He got the car that you said he would not have. Sometimes it takes being strange to get your miracle. Sometimes it take being a little bit crazy to get what it is that God got for you. And that's how I know some of you normal. You're sitting there like a normal person. But if you knew what I knew, you'll be getting up giving God the praise before it manifests, before you get the miracle, before the debt gets canceled. I dare you to run to somebody and tell them I'm not normal. I don't act like no normal person. I don't clap like no normal person. I don't shout like normal folk. Be seated. See, it go back to what I said earlier. Some of you just too ordinary. We have scriptures that back up the truth that Bonafide believers are anything but ordinary or normal. Paul said in 2 Corinthians 5:17, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creation. All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Tell your neighbor, you ain't ordinary. Not if you in Christ. Tell your neighbor, if you in Christ, you are a new creation. That means when you get saved, kinfolk got to get to know the new you.
Thank you for watching A Word for Deliverance with Pastor Leonard Cochran of A Place of Refuge, Noonan. A Place of Refuge is located at 10 Fisher Alley in the city of Noonan, Georgia. If you would like to visit us, our worship times are every Sunday at 10:15 a.m. and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. To order today's message on CD, please call the church office at 770-252-3855 and reference the order number on the screen.